call to order and the roll call.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Here. Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Strebe?
Here.
Okay, we have the agenda in front of us and an addendum to that. So after looking through that, is there a motion to accept the agenda? I do want to say in letter H, I want to remove Robin McClay's name so we can vote on that separately. Other than that, is there any other changes to said agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Strebe?
Yes.
Okay, and then we have from the minutes from the regular meeting of April 13th, 2021. Everybody's had a chance to go through those minutes. Does anybody have any corrections to those? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Strebe?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Yes.
Okay, and now we have what's usually our favorite part of the meeting is special commendations. And we need the approval for a graduation gown given from Valerie Oster, hand sanitizer donated from the Red Cross, a large box of facial masks from Schaefer Driveline, and Brick House Grind coupons to the entire staff for staff appreciation. Can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mr. Strebe?
Yes.
Okay, and now we'll move on to the treasurer's report and treasurer's consent agenda.
Okay, for the month of April, revenue did exceed expenditures by $92,000. This was due to the receiving of the rollback in homestead. Normally, we have received that money in the month of May, but it came in the month of April this time. And we also had a large claim reimbursement for the self-insurance fund. So when a claim comes in over $35,000, our stop loss insurance kicks in and the stop loss reimburses anything over that one claim that's over $35,000. So we received those two payments in the month of April. The large expenditures in the month of April was basically the St. Maya for the fuel, Gordon Food Services, AEP, and we did have one bond payment in the month of April. When comparing fiscal 2020 to fiscal 21, revenue is exceeding expenditures by close to $900,000. That is really mainly due to the increase in state funding and for our millage rate, since we did drop down to the 20 mil floor, that generated new revenue for the district for our property tax income. Moving forward, we will be going on and off the floor for over the next 5 years. When we hit fiscal 23, we'll be over the floor by 0.01 mil, which will reduce a little bit of property tax revenue, but then in 2024, we drop back down to the 20 mil floor, which will generate a little bit more revenue coming forward. And the general fund cash balance is currently 8% higher than 2020. 2020 was also an unusual year due to the pandemic and us receiving the many cuts in state aid that happened. And really, we did receive a little bit of the tax delinquency that happened in 2020, and that we received more in 2021 because people made up for the property taxes. I am happy to report that for self-insurance or insurance premiums for next year, we did receive a 0% increase for the 21 school year. So medical premiums will stay the same as they are currently. And that cash reserve is up 11% from fiscal 20, which is also a wonderful position for us to be in. That is all for my financials. Now I'll be going over the 5-year forecast. 5-year forecast, really, it is used as a planning tool for the Fredericktown local schools. It reflects 3 years of actual data regarding the general funds only, and it gives 5 years of estimates. So for this 5-year forecast that I am filing for this month, it is focusing on only really fiscal year 21, how we're ending this fiscal year. And then moving forward, those are all projections. House Bill 412 does require that the 5-year forecast be filed with the Ohio Department of Education in November and May of each fiscal year. The forecast, like I said, only consists of the general fund, which is the biggest and primary fund for all school districts. The general fund for us makes up nearly 71% of the total school budget. And the forecast is also based on fiscal years, which is July 1st through June 30. So our fiscal year is July 1st of 2020 through June 30 of 2021. And the forecast is broken down into 2 separate categories. So your top portion is your revenue, and then your bottom portion are your expenditures. And all my estimates are conservative and no way a guarantee of what is going to happen in the estimated years. So for lines 1.01 and 1.05, which are our property tax revenues, that's property tax and property tax allocation. This area experienced about an 8% increase in growth from 20 to 21. And that was due to the district falling to the 20 mil floor. So when a district drops to the 20 mil floor, this generates new revenue for the district. For years 22 through 25, it's modeled to have minimum growth and that's based on historical growth. And then lines 1.02, that is our PUP, or public utility, and that is solely based on historical growth as well. Our PUP has been really increasing over the last 5 years between 5 to 8%. Moving forward, it's they're saying that PUP is going to be slowly going down, and moving forward, I have it right around 3.5% moving forward. Then line 1.035, that's our unrestricted aid or our state aid that we receive from the Ohio Department of Education. The state aid did increase in fiscal 21 over 2020 by 1.2%. For the first half of 21, which is July through January, state aid remained at that reduced rate that happened back in May of 2020. State aid did increase in February by $116,000. That amount was basically half of what was reduced back in fiscal 20. They are saying that the remainder or the other half of that cut of the 212 is supposed to happen next fiscal year. They haven't come out with the state budget yet, and so I've increased that line item not to the full extent of that 112,000 that they're saying is going to be increased. I increased it by 80,000 because until they release the biennium budget, I'm not comfortable of increasing it to the full extent. That's what they are saying. Then lines 1.04 is our restricted aid. This is our economic disadvantage in career tech. Economic disadvantage is based on our poverty level per district, and it's a slow increase. I have it moving forward right between 1 and 1.5% moving forward. line 1.06, that's all of our other operating revenue. The big one in that line item is our open enrollment. Open enrollment generates a little over $1 million for our school district. And also our Medicare reimbursement also is in that line item as well. And we get right around $40,000 a year for Medicare reimbursement. And then line 2.07, that is our workers' comp. We pay a workers' comp annual fee at the beginning of every year, then halfway through the year we get a refund for the amount that we paid. So this year we got right around $34,000 that we got reimbursed. So our premium was close to 40 and we got 35 of that back. And that is all of our revenue for the first part of the forecast. So then you move to the second part of the forecast, and those are our expenses. So line 3.01 is our personnel. That's all salaries for the district. Well, I should say everyone that's paid out of the general fund. That does not include our grant people or our food service. Those are completely out of different funds of the district. So this includes our teachers, coaches, aides, custodians, secretaries, bus drivers, and our administrators. This area experienced a minimal increase in FY21 of not quite 1%. That was really basically off of what I actually projected. So for all of our overtime and custodians, that came in super close as what I projected in November. So line 3.02, those are our employee benefits. That's retirement, Medicare, and workers' compensation, and our insurance benefits also fall within that. This area showed a decrease in that line item, and that was mainly due to the premium holiday that was observed in fiscal 21. There is another premium holiday that's built in for fiscal 2023, but no other premium holidays are built in. And we did receive a 0% insurance increase last year, and we received one this for the upcoming school year. Moving forward, I have a 2% increase built in. I believe it's 2.25%, then 2.5% increase built in moving forward.
Starting in what fiscal year?
23.
Okay. So you said 2, 2.25%, 2.5%?
Yep. So right around the total amount of a premium holiday, it saves the district right around $168,000 for observing that premium holiday. So a premium holiday really is that or another word for it is an insurance moratorium. This is where the employee and the district, neither one of them pay for the medical insurance that month, but no coverage. I mean, everything continues as is. There's no loss in coverage. You just you skip a payment for a month. So then we move to line 3.03, our purchase service category. This is a big one for us. This is all of our professional development, our ESC services, and any, our utilities also fall within here, and our physical therapy services fall in here. This one did increase from 20 to 21 by 8%. This was almost 100% close to, because our enrollment of community schools increased. We had an additional 18 kids really leave the district to go into community school, which was a huge hit for this district. We went from 113,000 a year to almost 410,000 a year that we're paying to a community school just by those 18 kids leaving us to go there. Moving forward, I do have a little bit of a decrease in fiscal 22, and then I kind of flatlined it, hoping that the kids come back. And again, this will change in November when we have an actual count of enrollment and how the students, if they do come back or not, this will change that line item. But as of right now, I've kept it as is, so there wouldn't be a false pretense that there's gonna be another big increase in community school or any kind of enrollment out for the district. And line 3.04, that's our supplies and materials. This line item actually decreased, and that was mainly due to all of our grants that we received in fiscal '21 that helped take the burden off of general fund, and we were able to purchase several items through the ESSER grants, ESSER and CARES grant. And line 3.05, this is our capital outlay. This is all computer area. So computer and software comes out of this line item. This one did decrease a little bit by 1%, and that was really due to our CARES and ESSER money as well. And this line item is flatlined from moving forward as well. But you'll notice in 2023, there is a spike, and that's where we purchased a bus out of general fund in that year. And then line 4.3, that's all of our other objects. Those are my audit fees and the county auditor fees. And that line item decreased just a tiny bit this year, and that was because the county auditor did waive some of her county auditor fees for fiscal '21. I want to state that the May forecast represents the closing of this fiscal year. The forecast will be filed again in November of 2021, which will then represent fiscal year '22. Some of the areas of the forecast have been flatlined in future years due to unknown outcomes at this time. And the forecast will be updated with the current year prospectively. It is also projected that we will end fiscal year '21 with revenue exceeding expenditures by $400,000. With that being said, salaries, benefits, fuel, utilities, with all of that, it costs the district approximately $34,000 a day to operate, which equals little over $1 million a month.
Say that one more time.
It's $34,000 a day, which equates to $1,027,000 a month to operate. So in order for us to maintain that carryover reserve, the district, we must be fiscally responsible and view all areas yearly as we move along with revenue. And the forecast is fluid and most likely will change again when I file in November. And that is my forecast.
Okay, questions?
So Heather, when you guys work on the 5-year forecast for November,
Yes,
I'm making some assumptions.
yes,
The actual will drop off 2018 and we'll add 2026?
yep,
Okay, and then in that forecast, you will create assumptions that we'll look at that will help us understand rationales behind these pieces.
yes. And the assumptions, when I file my forecast with the Ohio Department of Education, my assumptions are attached to my forecast on that website, and they're also posted on our website as well.
Yeah. So is it appropriate to say that this May filing of the forecast is really a look back and not a look forward because you're closing out fiscal year 2021?
Correct.
Okay. I just needed to get perspective.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions on the forecast or the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for approval for the consent agenda and report.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Strebe?
Yes.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the superintendent's report and consent agenda.
Good evening. I would like to begin with Staff Appreciation Week was last week, and it was full of great activities. The bus drivers had breakfast. They were flocked at the bus garage. The PTO and the unions had a food truck in one day and fed the staff, and that was really exciting. Staff received T-shirts and a gift card from the Brick House, and that was special as well. And the principals did donuts and did some things at the building level. So I think we had something almost every single day for staff appreciation. This has been the hardest year I think any of us have had in education. And so staff appreciation was especially special this year because our staff has been working so hard, and they've been fearless and resilient and tired to the bones. And we are where we are as a district that's been in session every day because of our staff, our students, our parents, and our community. So it was a really special week. Prom also went really well. It was in our high school. It was decorated beautifully. Something special that Brent shared was the fact that after the prom, all of the students helped tear down the prom, and so we just have the best students. And so that went really well, good attendance. Spring sports has had great attendance. I think the community was ready to embrace activity, and so we had a lot of community members as well as parents and staff that have been attending our sports activities. The Freddie flocking with all of our students and staff and community members has been a big hit in our community, and I think people just enjoy seeing the flockings as they're out and about. We get a lot of feedback with that, and it seems to be a big success, and our kids love it, and they love to help, and they love to just be a part of it. We are going to be doing a lot of ESSER planning over the summer with our ESSER Grant 2 for curriculum materials. So we'll start that planning and then do professional development and just really working collaboratively with our teachers in all curriculum areas to update our curriculum and our teaching and learning materials and our assessment tools. So I think next year is going to be extremely exciting due to ESSER Grant number 2, and ESSER 3 just came out this week, and so we will begin the process of planning for ESSER 3. And that one's a little bit different. We're kind of in the early stages of getting that information, but it's not similar to ESSER 2 in several areas, so we're still getting kind of used to that application. Natalie Baker, a member of our Teen Advisory Council of Knox County, has been named a recipient of the Youth Advocate Award for 2021 from the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Association of Ohio. Natalie's made quite an impact with her name, and the Teen Advisory Council said Tina Cockerell. And Natalie serves on the planning committee for the TAC Color Run, led a discussion in her school about anxiety in youth, engages in crucial conversations with peers, and has used skills learned in bystander intervention training to help others. We also have a big couple weeks coming up, and so I wanted to just make some announcements on some of those important days coming up. So senior exams are next week on May 17 and 18. The senior last day is May 18th. Graduation practice is on the 20th. Senior checkout is on the 20th. Senior luncheon is on the 20th, and senior awards. So the 20th is a big day for our seniors. Underclassmen exams are on the 20th and the 21st. The 8th grade moving up ceremony is on May 21st. The last day for students is on May 21st, and graduation is on May 21st. So we have a big week next week with end of school activities for all students and our seniors. On the agenda tonight, I want to congratulate Marla Nutzel, grade 5. She has been in our district for 22 years. Also, Taylor Hill has been in our district for 1 year, and she has the opportunity to stay at home next year. We also have the Ohio High School Athletic Association membership. We also have a couple field trips, which is super exciting because we haven't really been able to leave our community for field trips. So the FFA is going on a field trip. Boys basketball is going to camp over the summer. We have some student teachers coming next year. We also have summer school at our elementary, and that's going to be in June and August. We also have some personnel recommendations. We also have several students taking College Credit Plus courses. We also have supplemental contracts on this agenda, which is routine. And so lots of great things. I sent Marla a card the day before she submitted her retirement, and one thing I put in her card was just her dad passed away, so I sent a card and I said next year will be better. And then the next day I received her retirement. So it is going to be better because she's lucky enough to retire. But I did hear that you're planning to sub. Yes, so we're super excited about that too. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Any questions for Susan? Okay, hearing none, I ask for approval of A through O. Is it O?
Q.
Q. A through Q
Minus.
minus Robin in H.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Blanchard.
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Clay.
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Strebe.
Yes. Move to approve item H.
Yeah, now approve item H with Robin.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Blanchard.
Yes.
Mrs. Strebe.
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
And
Three
abstain.
abstain.
Okay, so I've got a couple things to present this evening, and first of all, I'd like to also thank Marla for her 22 years of service to the schools, and I know she's been an active teacher and active with taking tickets and coming to basketball games, and I've seen her in the stands through the years quite a bit, so they're definitely going to miss you there, but luckily we'll be able to hopefully have you for some substituting. I was able to go to the Board Leader Institute in April, which was all virtual. And at that, there was a great presenter named Gary Brooks. And I don't know if anybody's heard of him. Yeah, he's a educator, he's a principal, he's a father, and he's kind of a comedian. And he started presenting some videos that he would do, and they started going viral. So he's kind of known for that, but he's also kind of done some public speaking, and he was the public speaker for the OSBA's Board Leadership Institute on Personal Climate and Culture. And I have an object lesson that he used, and I've passed these out to the board and to Heather and Susan, and they're reader glasses, and it's something that he gives. He's a principal in Kentucky, so it's something that he gives to his staff at the beginning of every school year and challenges them to put them on their desk or use them if they need to look through the perspective of the people that they are working with and leading. And through that, looking through the lens of other people, you're able to gain sympathy and empathy and understanding for the different things that your staff's going through or that the students are going through and that type of thing. And when I listened to that, I thought that is kind of what Susan Hayward has done with our district. And we've been, as a board, we've been very pleased with the things that she has been able to do to look through the perspective of the community and the students and the staff. And I've got a list of accomplishments that she has had so far, where she's brought our district into compliance with ODE on K through 12 response to intervention framework. She's brought our district into compliance with the ODE K through 12 positive behavioral interventions and support framework. She communicates on a monthly basis for activities, programs, accomplishments, district improvements with all stakeholders through various means such as the website, Facebook, Twitter, and snail mail. She actively seeks input and creates methods for the staff to be actively involved in decision making, as well as developing and supporting the district-wide goals. She conducts regular and purposeful visits to the buildings and classrooms, which I've heard have been very beneficial and appreciated. And she also, what I know from the community that's been appreciated, is that she regularly attends activities like ball games, concerts, musicals, and is very busy outside of what she does in her office. And she also has created a positivity and impacted Freddie Pride in the community, especially through like the flockings and that type of thing. And I think probably one of the best things she has done this year for our district is the planning and development with the help of the staff in responses with COVID-19 and this whole pandemic that we have gone through. So she has done excellent with all of that, and especially in such a tough year. So with all of that, I'm going to put my perspective glasses on and read our motion to approve to increase the contract of Superintendent Susan Hayward's base salary by 2% for year 2022 through 2023, 2.5% for year 2023 to 24, and 2.5% for 24 to 25. Years 25, 26, and 26, 27 will be negotiated no later than August 1st, 2025, and the salary rate cannot be lower than the rate set for the school year 2025. This salary shall be paid in 24 equal treatments or installments in the same manner as other certificated employees. The board may increase the superintendent's salary, but as provided by Ohio law, the salary may not be decreased during the term of the contract except pursuant to a uniform plan affecting all employees of the district. May I have a motion to approve the new contract?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes.
Mrs. Strebe?
Yes.
Okay, next we will go on to committee reports, and we have Patty for the legislation.
Okay. April 30th, which isn't that far long ago, ODE posts new graduation pathways for 2021. I knew you guys were up on this stuff.
early?
But I'm just telling you, it's like, really? I was frustrated by that. So, anyway, I hope some of it works as we work with our kids. And then there's subsequent postings on there anyway, based on their Reset Restart program and ways to determine eligibility for kids to be able to graduate. So, they've also updated their Ohio's Means Jobs piece that is connected to one of the pathways. So it'll be interesting to see how our kids do. The House budget bill, the biennium budget has not been approved, hasn't been signed, nothing. They're still monkey-dinking around with the fair school funding formula. The House Bill 110, the revised version, substitute bill, they had a hearing on it April 21st. And if this thing goes through with the fair school funding formula, if you can call it that, it will begin a slow implementation beginning fiscal year '22, which will impact our 5-year forecast.
Correct, yeah, it's a 6-year phase-in.
Yes, and there are a lot of public policy changes in this thing, depending on which bill they end up approving, the Senate version or the House version.
Yep.
Lots of hearings, lots of conversation around this piece. I guess what it does is it looks at property value and income. So the formula is based on, is it 60% of the property value and 40% of your income? So if you look at property values in Fredericktown and income in school district families, households, 60% and 40%, that, if that shifts over time, I think we could be back into a situation that we were in under Durant.
Correct.
And I'm not sure that this fair school funding plan is going to be able to be adjusted adequately over time, even though it's a 6-year phase-in, to really address the needs of communities like Fredericktown. They already know, based on simulations, that there will be 6 districts in this plan who will lose funding over the first 2 years.
Yep.
One of those is in Knox County,
That is correct.
okay? Meanwhile, 96 districts, or 16%, appear to lose funding over the 6-year phase-in period. It's going to be really fascinating to me to see the demographics of those 96 districts. Because what my tummy tells me is who serves to be benefited by this formula will be the high wealth districts, high income districts already, because it's based on wealth standards, not needs-based. And they're saying that they'll offset that with what they're calling the disadvantaged pupil impact aid, which is, I guess, economically disadvantaged
It's
stuff.
not, yeah.
But that doesn't come without hoops that you jump through.
Right, and that doesn't happen until almost halfway through
Right.
the 6-year phase-in.
Yeah, so there's, and they took out some student wellness and student success funds from the formula in the House bill. So they eliminated, thank God, they eliminated the requirement that DeWine proposed to have every student as a part of high school graduation complete the FAFSA, which is, are you kidding me? The other thing that they're creating in this that impacts us is a legislative panel to oversee and review distribution and spending of federal COVID emergency funds received by school districts and others. So you know what the real meaning there is. You're gonna have to fill out a lot of reports. So just keep good data. Other than that, there's informal hearings now on House Bill 110. If you have strong feelings about this, my suggestion is you go read up on it and then contact your representatives and senators. The last thing I'm gonna report on is a newly introduced House Bill 290, which could also really impact our district, because the bill basically expresses the intent to develop legislation that provides a voucher for every student in Ohio to attend the public school, charter school, or private school of the family's choosing. So if you have strong feelings about that one way or the other, I would suggest you contact your legislators at the House and Senate level and tell them to not support that House Bill 290, also known as the backpack bill. And that's my report for this week.
Okay, thanks. And Finance Committee, I don't think we had anything.
Didn't meet last month.
Yeah.
Heather stole all our thunder anyway.
Park and Recreation Board,
Busy time of the year.
oh yeah, yeah, lots of ball games.
Lots of ball games.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. Fredericktown Community Development Liaison.
We had a really good meeting and we had really good attendance. We did lose our treasurer, so if anyone would like to do that, please let me know. We are looking for a treasurer. Also, a lot of activities are going to be happening in the village, and so lots of great things coming up over the summer, so lots of discussion about those great things. And then just really talking about the new magazine, the 43019 magazine, which is a big hit and people really appreciate it. So then next one will be coming out this summer. So I'm currently working on a piece for that, as well as our school calendar will be going in that magazine. And that's it.
Good. Okay, and Career Center, Candy?
Meeting is this Thursday via Zoom, so I will have something
Okay,
this month.
good. Administrative reports.
I've got a few things. Dr. Hayward stole a lot of my thunder there about prom and everything. But yeah, we are finished with testing, both national and state. AP tests have been over the last couple weeks, not to mention the AIR Ohio State test, the end of course exams. Congratulations to our varsity baseball team. They are co-champions of the KMAC with that win over Cinnaburg last night. And also our middle school girls finished first in the KMAC and our boys finished second. So we're having a really, really good spring sports outing. Girls varsity softball team travels to Pleasant tomorrow night for first round tournament games. That starts at 5 o'clock if anybody's interested. Tickets can be purchased online there. And then just mark your calendars. We don't know who we're playing yet, but it will be at home next Thursday, May 20th at 5 p.m. So that's going to be a busy night because I think the baccalaureate starts at 6:15. So I'll be that guy out there in a suit watching a baseball game. Last Wednesday, we had blood drive at the high school. Senior Lydia Studi headed that up as part of National Honor Society project. Collected over 128 units of blood. I just got the email, and that helps out 384 different people.
Wow.
And then I'm meeting, I'm not meeting, but a group of teachers and I are meeting with our first vendor that we're looking at for a new learning management system, not to replace Google, and this is really important, but to help extend Google into the classroom because, we did all that Google training. But so that team is taking off, and we are going to be meeting Thursday with a vendor, and then hopefully next week with another vendor as the teachers start making the decision for what learning management system that we'd like to go forward with. And again, graduation 7 o'clock at the stadium next Friday as of right now, and I've been checking for the last 3 days because it's been 72 degrees, 31% chance of rain. So it's been going down every day. So we are going to hold with that. Remember, if anybody asks, if we're at the stadium, we're letting anybody that wants to come in. If we have to move to the gym, though, it's going to be 4 tickets per seat. And that's pretty much, we've had a busy month there, and another busy 2 weeks coming up.
What time is the moving on up ceremony for the 8th grade?
I want to say that's 9 a.m. Adam Brown's in charge of that because I'll be busy with graduation that day. I'm not going to lie. I'm saying you've got to take this over for me. And of course, Adam's a great guy, and he's going to do that. But I want to say 9 a.m. And I will double check on that.
Okay.
I'll get that out to you guys.
It's at 9 a.m. It's on the list.
Okay, that's what I thought.
In the high school gym.
All invited to the senior luncheon at 12:30. It's going to be here in the admin building because the church where we usually have it, they're under construction or something. So it definitely, you are invited. Please come.
Okay. All right, thank you. And Business Advisory Council.
I have nothing.
Yeah, we didn't get an email this month, did we? I don't remember, yeah. Okay, policy liaison.
Haven't had
I don't
any
have
meetings,
anything.
so we're good.
Okay. FEA,
We are wrapping up our essay contest, winners will be announced next week. And we're gonna be working with the Fredericktown Public Library over the summer to, with their summer reading program to provide, different prizes and items for their different activities that they're gonna be doing. We're getting ready for our, we're gonna have an end of the year general meeting to recognize people that are leaving, people that were in a leadership role this year. With all the different committees we've had a lot of different, members helping out, so just taking some time to recognize those efforts in a strange COVID year. Wanted to thank Kirk House on behalf of the teaching staff for their generous donation of a coffee. We often go there right before school for that lovely coffee. So very appreciative of that. Had a good time last week for Teacher Appreciation Week. We are also very appreciative of the t-shirts that administration provided for us and the board, so thank you very much. Look forward to wearing those. It's always nice to have a new shirt to wear. And the food truck was a good collaboration with PTO, and it was good food. We all ate too much. But yeah, it seemed to go well last year. So I'm just getting ready for the last week. That's it.
okay, and OPSI,
Just kind of piggyback on different things that Teresa said. Thank you for all the staff appreciation stuff last week, that was great. Also, I want to thank the board and Susan for the, great year we've had, all students, every day, buds in the seats. It's been great. It's been tiring, but it's been great. Thank you.
okay. Now we'll move on to public participation, and we do have a couple people that have a couple presentations. And just a reminder that the community members who choose to address the board will be limited to 3 minutes. And our first one will be Jennifer Bostic.
I have a question, first of all. I do have so I was looking at the report that we talked about. I didn't know if we were allowed to ask questions when she asked for questions, or it's only open to board members to ask questions, and I wasn't interrupting at that time.
It's usually just open to board members.
Yes.
Okay, can I ask one question in my speaking time? In terms of the personnel services, are teacher raises included or factored into that over the 5-year forecast?
That is flatlined because we'll be going into negotiations at the 22-23 school year.
Okay, so that was my main concern, is I know that the board had, given raises to Ms. Hayward, which I appreciate and understand that administration roles have challenging, and she's new to the district, so obviously, as you are at a starting level salary going up. But I was just very concerned because I know I've heard many discussions about the budget and concerns over the forecast, so that the concern about teachers not getting raises while the superintendent was getting raises was definitely a concerning message, in my opinion, to be sending to the teachers. I understand that the goal of the board and the school district is to retain and recruit high-quality teachers, and they've been frontline in our classrooms during COVID, and they've had the regular exposure. They're one of the many factors that have kept all of the plans made from going through and being able to be carried out on a day-to-day basis. Enforcing mask wearing in their classrooms, making sure students are social distancing, washing their hands, doing all of those things, making sure sick children go to the office and leave the school when they need to. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone in the school district was in the same boat, and that there weren't necessarily things that were being done for the administrators that weren't necessarily done for the teachers. So that does help rest assure me a little bit in that. And because I also understand from a fiscal perspective, when you're dealing with a very large budget, the raise for one person, a certain amount of money is sort of a de minimis amount when you're talking, $1 million budget. So that definitely made sense that where you could offer one raise and not raises to all. So I just wanted to sort of get some more understanding on that, and thank you for answering those clarifying questions. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for your concern and thank you for bringing that forward to us. And then the next one is Courtney Farley.
Okay, so mine pertains to curriculum, and I'll start off with the most recent thing that I've witnessed at Fredericktown schools this school year. Students had to read an article titled "Why I Still Fast During Ramadan," and although the author is no longer a Muslim, which the teacher informed me, the author expresses why he still partakes in Ramadan. My question is, how does this hold any educational value or pertain to 9th grade English curriculum? Also, why was it necessary to watch 2 videos explaining Islam faith? When I asked the teacher if the kids would be able to have an opportunity to study a Christian author and learn about Christianity and the Bible, he replied no, because he did not know of any good Christian authors, which I replied him to just do a simple Google search. And second, I will view my concern with a poem that the kids read a couple months ago, titled Transgendered God. It had to do with transgender, I have it here, something to do with transgendered God. So my concern here isn't the comparison to traditional sonnets, like the teacher tried to tell me was the purpose of it. The subject matter itself is my concern. I do not believe this is appropriate for 15 to 16-year-olds, no matter what their belief. And I don't think that it's suitable for teens whose brains are still developing. I don't believe it is the school's job to teach or influence a specific belief or sexual orientation. And if we are going to pander to the LGBTs and Muslims, then Christians should get the same opportunity to learn about Jesus Christ. I believe it is the responsibility of the parents to introduce these kinds of beliefs with their kids as need be, not the school's place to do so. Even suggesting such ideas on impressionable minds is not only alarming, but dangerous. Our children are growing up in a society whose happiness is fueled by attention and how many likes they get on Facebook and whatnot. By making literature that is not age appropriate could sway said impressionable minds to alter themselves in a way that not only affords them these so-called likes, but could also set them on a path of self-destruction and self-harm. I believe taking those aspects into consideration when choosing curriculum should be at the forefront of every educator's thoughts. I realized that when I chose to send my child to public school, they would be indoctrinated by the state of Ohio's rules. But the way our country is today, I'm not even going to have any rights as a parent. I would hope I could trust educators to make unbiased choices when choosing curriculum and to teach our children the truth. I'm losing my faith in our small town's education system. What they're calling diversity is really propaganda and indoctrination in disguise. It is a soft introduction to an ideology that is an affront to the Constitution of the United States, and therefore it is an affront to the education system. Thank you.
Okay, would you like to
Yeah,
speak to
I can, and of course, we talked a little bit on the phone, and I just, usually I wouldn't go off and talk about my personal life, but I will here, and some of you guys aren't going to be surprised, as we talk about lenses today. I am around a 40-year member of the Croton Church of Christ. I've been an elder there, a deacon, a Sunday school teacher, and a treasurer. So I meet with Fredericktown ministers every Sunday or Monday morning, and some other community members, some board members, and we pray about our students and our staff. So that's the lens where I'm viewing everything from, and I'm also a 15-year veteran English teacher, so I understand both sides of that story. So, as the article was, the essay was, Why I Celebrate Ramadan Even Though I'm Not a Muslim. And so the first thing I did when I started getting these complaints is I went to board policy. So, what's the board policy on that? And it definitely does talk about unbiased, and this is just so everybody knows, policy 2270, religion in the curriculum. It talks about the fact that social studies and English teachers will need to teach about religions in the classroom, but they're to do it in an informational, unbiased way. That's what the article talks about, and they must remain neutral in this. It's just presenting facts about that. And as this essay was going on, he showed a video on Ramadan, and I went and I talked to the aide that was in the classroom too, just to make sure, again, that we're following board policy. And it was all informational. And the reason he chose that essay, a couple different things, is we're talking about state standards. He was going over reading for information, which is half of an English teacher's curriculum. And he was talking about ethos, pathos, and logos, which was, ethics, kind of what I did today, talking about my past. And the pathos was getting emotion, and that's what he was doing here. And the entire essay, and I read it wasn't a bad essay, it was just about how he was trying to connect with his youth and his culture and things like that. It never talked about Muslim or Islamic things at all outside of Ramadan, and he wanted the kids to understand that. But so that's half of the standards, and part of the standards is also standards for literacy in history and social studies. English teachers are required to teach critical thinking when it comes, and science is in there too. Reading an essay, reading an article, being able to look at it and say, this is the bias, this is, the argument they're trying to make, these are the claims. So that's what he was going at, and just so everybody's comfortable, as I talked to him, as I talked to the aide that was in there and the teachers, it was presented in a very unbiased way, and it was in line with our board policy and the state standards. Just so everybody can rest assured on that. And a couple other things about that. He spent the last unit, Lord of the Flies, talking about how that related to Christianity. So he's hitting everything. And students, one concern that I've seen, the students aren't allowed to talk about Jesus or things like that in the classroom. The very last part of that board policy, students shall not be prohibited from engaging in religious expression and completion of homework, artwork, or other written or oral assignments in school. So we don't deny students the opportunity to express their faith, but our staff does not express their faith.
Okay, thank you very much. And I now have a motion to adjourn the meeting. And does anybody give a thing for that?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Blanchard.
Yep.
Mr. Strubing.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher.